Those of you who do not know me, my name is Andrew Monroe. I am 35 years old and I spent a great deal of my life in active addiction from the age of, 12 when I first started smoking weed, all the way up until the age of 28, doing lots of things. I had a love for heroin like no other. It was my first true love, if you could call it. And I'm here to create some waves because I know this conversation and opening up this conversation is going to rock the boat a little bit. And I'm okay with that. I am completely okay with that. I am so okay with that because have you ever had one of those days where you're just like alive and well in your body and the universe is just downloading, right? You're in creation mode and all of a sudden you just start getting these messages. I'm not even going to claim them as my own words because essentially it is in fact divine guidance, divine words. So this information is out there. So the point of this live is to not only find my people that share the same frequency of languaging and conversations around addiction and transformation and healing as I do, but to open up conversations with people that are open-minded enough to enter the arena of nitty-gritty transformation and really get down to the work, the fun, really challenging, crazy at times, super worth it work. So addiction, what is it, right? Addiction is when you have a strong physical or psychological need or urge to do something. If you just use that textbook definition, the human race all has a disease of addiction, right? We're addicted to chaos. We're addicted to separation, to our cell phones, to sex, to drugs. If you are a human and you're watching this, you can nod your head because at some point in time, you have experienced addiction in that textbook sense at one point in your life. It is inevitable. Our world is constructed to create separation, our cell phones being the major one. Now it's like weird to go on a walk and like say hello to a stranger. We lived in times where we were in community, communed with each other, and that was our conversations, nothing else. It wasn't a cell phone. It wasn't a text message. Nowadays, people don't even answer the phone. They screen their calls. You got to text them first, right? So we've all experienced that. And now, if you look at the definition of addiction in 12-step fellowships. I'm going to start with this because I'm already receiving the rock in the boat energy of I love 12-step fellowships. I am not here to bash 12-step fellowships. 12-step fellowship saved my life. That is why I'm here right now. It was the start of my healing journey and I love them. There are some things that I'm not really aligned with anymore, but it is the foundation for recovery, sobriety. It gives you that elevated frequency community of people that are on the same journey as you are, so it is beneficial. You build the foundation there, the groundwork, the languaging of what it means to actively be in transformation and healing for your life so that you can live authentically and begin to clear away the guilt and the shame, the fear, and all of the non-effective frequencies in your body, because that's what healing is. And 12-step fellowships are just the first 12 steps. There are 13 to beyond steps that exist, my friends. If you look at addiction in NA or AA sense, right, it's described as a progressive disease with no known cure. And that is what I'm here to call bullshit on. And I know that's going to trigger a lot of people in the community of recovery and sobriety. And you're going to think that I have this God ego complex. And I'm okay with that. That is the conversation that I'm bringing to the table right here, right now. That is that I am perfectly okay if your perception of me is an egotistical maniac with a God complex, because at the end of the day, I know what to be true in my own body, and that's not what this is. I am here to simply present a different path, a different opportunity, one that goes deeper than just tilling the topsoil. And I want to talk about addiction in the spiritual sense because in the textbooks of addiction, 12-step AA, NA, it is described as a spiritual malady, right? It's a spiritual illness that stems from a disconnection from a higher power or oneself. Again, there it is, that separation from source. God, universe, Allah, Buddha, whatever you believe in, it is a disconnection from yourself and of source. And honestly, realizing that if you believe in God, then you are a part of God. I am not the God, but I am God. I am a piece of the universe. I am a piece of of source. So if we look at energy and addiction from that lens, the spiritual malady, the spiritual non-effectiveness energy in the body, we then look at a couple things, right? In the Western medicine world, addiction is genetic. It's passed down, right? They've done studies, right? We also know, again, energy. If you are born of a man and a woman, semen and an egg, right? You are your parents' energy. Now trace it back. Energy cannot be destroyed, right? Can never be destroyed. It comes from somewhere. So we open up the conversation of scarcity mindset, right? The Great Depression, family members that lived in the Great Depression, and energetically, that scarcity mindset has been passed down generation. That's where we get the lingo generational trauma that has been passed down after generation. Again, my name is Andrew Monroe. I'm 35 years old, and I spent a great deal of my life in active addiction to heroin. I have also spent a great deal of my life working through every trauma in the book that you could possibly name. So know that my knowledge comes from God, universe, or source, and also from personal experience. So if we're looking at spiritual malady, addiction, right? We trace it back. It's genetic, it's ancestral, it's in our body, meaning we were born with it. And then somewhere along the line, it was triggered. For me personally, it was triggered into drugs because I did not have the emotional intelligence as a child to deal with all of the emotions that I was experiencing. And when I took drugs, it silenced my mind. And in all actuality, what I know to be true now in this moment is that I was experiencing God-like moments when I was high because I felt peace. Yes, my life was an absolute chaos, but my emotions that I didn't know how to deal with were at peace. So it's really cool to look back. I've now been, free from heroin for almost 7 years. To look back at really the reason why I chose into drugs, right? Because it helped essentially calm my nervous system. Then I became physically dependent on them. And then my life revolved around them. And I lied, cheated, and stole from every single person that I could probably get my hands on because I needed my drugs. Right? And back to it being a spiritual condition. If we're focusing on the spirit, again, that's the conversation that I'm looking to have because that is the core of addiction, right? That generational trauma, that ancestral trauma, the guilt, the shame, the fear, the anger that was passed down from us. And no blame, shame, guilt, or this is not a victim story. This is not my parents did this, my dad did this to me, my mother did this to me, right? And it's not their fault. Know that I'm not casting the blame on anyone. I am in full responsibility for my emotions, my ways of being, and what I'm here to cause and create. This is a 100% responsibility conversation. That is it. So if we come back to the spirit and we focus on the core and we rid our body somatically from guilt, anger, fear, shame, all of that. And we begin to do the work of transformation. Yes, 12 steps is one avenue of transformation. So is yoga teacher training. So is reading books and listening to podcasts. That's one avenue of transformation. But what I know to be true in my body in this moment, and I can't stay still because I'm just so fucking excited, is that you get to somatically expel the guilt, the shame, the anger, the fear that is ancestrally in your body, right? That whole disease of addiction is genetic. Well, sure. Right? The energy from our parents is genetic because it's passed on to us, and then from their parents. And then, you can go back hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, right? All the way back to God, to the first person, which just concludes the point that we are all source. We are all God. So focusing on the spirit. If we begin to clear away what's actually causing this spiritual malady, which is non-effective frequencies, low vibing energies of emotion: anger, guilt, shame, fear. David Hawkins is a great person to get into if you want to understand the languaging that I'm using and the levels of consciousness that have been calibrated. It is woo-woo and science. It is backed by science, right? From 0 to 1,000 being enlightenment. Now, with the removal of this fear, this guilt, the shame in the spirit, we begin to transcend levels of consciousness. So we begin to experience love and neutrality and peace and ease. And if we are on this journey and we are fully embodied in, let's say, just the energy, the frequency of love that calibrates at 540, addiction can no longer exist. It cannot exist when you're actually in the frequency of unconditional love. The frequency, not just I love you. The energy of love. Addiction cannot exist. To reach that point, to reach that frequency, that means that you have gone in, done the work to rid yourself of this generational trauma, this fear, this guilt, the shame that maybe you picked up as a kid, maybe you had trauma as a kid, but started from our ancestors. And now let me tell you, it's not comfortable and it's not easy. And I'm here to, cause some waves because most of the human population ain't ready to do this work, aren't ready to have the mirror put in front of their face and be in full responsibility of their emotions. That's it. Most people don't want to do this. This is challenging. I find it so much fun because I now, from my vantage point of where I see and where I've been, I can see the bigger picture. And again, this is not an egotistical Andrew thinks he's God conversation. This is simply like I have raised my frequency. I see what other people, it's not just me. There is a collective of humans working to raise the frequency of this planet because they are true world healers. That is how this world heals at the end of the day, right? We all continuously raise our frequency together as a unit, as a community, and it requires this work. It requires this aggressive come at your guilt, your shame, your fear, and all of your non-effective emotions. It is what I know to be true right now. Yes, there's many ways. Again, 12-step fellowships are amazing. I bow down. They saved my life time and time and time and time and time again. I should be dead in this moment, and I'm not, and I'm having this conversation with you just because I want to illuminate different areas, different options, different pathways. I wholeheartedly, strongly agree that if you are an addict of any sort, 12-step fellowship should be your starting ground. It lays the foundation. And from there, you get to explode. You get to fly. You get to spread your fucking wings because there is so much more out there. There is deeper healing that you may not even see yet. And unless you are triggered into that response and that mirror is held up right in front of your face, chances are you might not always see it. And that is the work of transformation. I have been in the work of transformation since I got into recovery, 12 steps. I've done the podcast, I've done the books, yoga teacher training, and then up until about 18 months ago, I thought I had seen it all. And then I came into this process of transformation's work, not Andrew's work. I threw myself into it, and I'm now on the other side, still in the work, right? Because this is continuous. All healing is continuous, not that. You know what I mean? Our endpoint is death, all continuous. I've stayed in this work, and now what I see to be true is mind blowing, and that's why I'm here having this conversation, because it's just time to get loud. It's just time to get proud and bounce around and share this information and this knowledge and these downloads that I'm receiving from the universe, that addiction is in fact truly curable. And that is the one thing that I will stand up against with wholehearted conviction, because today in my body I can wholeheartedly say that the energy of addiction resides nowhere in my body. Will I always be in this work of transformation? 100%. But the frequency of addiction no longer resides in my body. And I want to ask you a question, and then I'm going to end because I'm going to keep this short. If you're in the medical field, or you know someone that's had a heart attack, or know what causes a heart attack, right? Atherosclerosis, the plaquing up, the caking up of your arteries, right? Eventually it gets clogged. You have a heart attack, right? And now the number one medical intervention is to go in and put a stent, right? A stint is a quick fix to keep you alive and well. Now you change your diet, you take this medication, but wouldn't you find it more useful if there was a process existed that, call it like a Roto-Rooter, you drink this drink or whatever needed to happen, where something went into your veins and your arteries and just cleared them all out, right? Cleared them all out, and you started from ground zero, free and clear, gonna choose into new ways of eating, new ways of being, so that you don't plaque up again. Wouldn't you say that that is more valuable to you than just putting in a stent, right? Because the stent can fail. You still may have other plaque buildups in other areas of your body. It is the same thing with your spirit and having spiritual maladies that manifest in addiction and many other things, just being depressed or anxious or fearful all of the time. Again, all just non-effective frequencies. So wouldn't you think it would be more valuable to you to have a process that goes into your spiritual being from head to toe and clear you all out from head to toe of your fear, your guilt, your shame? And I'm talking about a physical practice. This isn't just reading a book. This isn't just listening to a podcast. This is getting in it. This is walking through a process that holds a mirror up to you nonstop, shows you how you're showing up in life, how you're being triggered and responsible for your emotion. And the more you stay in this work, the more you're able to clean out your spirit. So if at the end of a couple years, a year, again, I can't put a time limit on this. I'm not going to say, do this work for a year and you're going to be healed. I am 7 years into my transformational journey since becoming being clean, and 18 months into the process that I'm in now. So I don't have a time limit for you. I can't say that you're going to, strike gold in 2 years. It is different for everyone because we're all working with different traumas. We're all working with different ancestries. We're all working with different karmic cycles. That's another thing. It's like I could die tomorrow and I am effing happy because I know in my body that I have cleared whatever my karmic cycle was. I have broken generational trauma. I have healed it to its core. It no longer exists in my body, and therefore I'm able to live a life where I'm just full of ease and love and joy and abundance and flow all the time. And I don't know about you, but I do not know another human being on this planet that would choose out of that. That would say, no, I don't want a life where I can walk into a room of 2,000 people, stand on a stage, and authentically be myself. Not a human exists. We're all searching for that level of ease. We're all searching for that connection that we live in a world that's here to disconnect us. We're all searching for our authentic selves. We're all searching for that space where we feel easy and at ease and peace and love. And again, I'm not here to bash 12-step fellowships. I'm really not. I owe them my life. But there are a lot of things that I don't align with the fact that the addiction disease is not curable. 100% it is. If you go in and do the work of clearing out your spirit, again, it's aggressive. It's hard hitting. It is in your face. It is challenging. Will there be breakdowns? Yes, and there'll be breakthroughs. And eventually you get to a point in your life where you're just standing and I'm on Instagram Live and I'm just having a conversation about what's going through my head, and the way that I'm speaking right here, right now is not how I would be speaking a year ago. My presence in just having conversations with people one-on-one, I sometimes hear myself and I'm like, who is this? Who is he? Like because of the practice that I've been in, I can now hold myself to a higher frequency and different energy is coming out. And if you know the law of attraction, what you think about most, you attract. So in the world of law of attraction, again, I don't know a human that's going to say, I want to attract low vibe things. We all want money, right? We all want abundance. We want love. We want peace. We want neutrality. Those are all high frequency energies. So to attract what you want, you get to be what you want. You can't just skip that part. In the process of transformation is clearing house. Rotor-rootering your spirit, opening up the doors, the closets, airing it all out so that you can clean it out once and for all, and then be in the practice of constant upkeep, constant rigor. It's work. So it's, again, I don't think the disease of addiction, the disease that we really should be focusing on is the disease of separation and humanity. That is what we should be focusing on. And we should be focusing on everything that we can do to create connection within ourselves, within others, within our communities, because that is the real disease. Addiction is just a small piece of it. Small piece of it that I feel like then the whole world decided to jump on the bandwagon, right? Google, medical health, all of those literally says disease, that addiction is a disease that is not curable. And I call fucking bullshit. It's just another fucking scam to get some money. Yes, detox and all of those things are great, but it has been an abused system when all you could do is just thrust the money and thrust the energy into diving so deep into the spiritual malady. The spirit, you got to get in there. It's got to be physical. It's got to be somatic. You got to be able to scream it out, shake it out, flush it out. This isn't just sit down and write some, answer some questions. That any stepbook literature is long, right? That is just the topsoil stuff. You got to get down underneath. You got to go deep. Just as deep as you went digging a hole being an addict. You got to go so deep. I think that's all I got. Know that this is a conversation that I'm going to continuously bring to the table because it is something that empowers me, inspires me, and it's information that this world gets to know because there are so many different paths. And what I know to be true, and again, not from a place of ego or I am God. 18 months ago, I came up into this work of transformation and I thought I knew everything. And I was brought to my knees with all of the things that I didn't know because I was willing to be a student. I was willing to get uncomfortable over and over and over and over and over again, that you just got to laugh at how uncomfortable you get because there's so many things coming at us left and right, designed to separate us from ourselves, from source, from God, whatever you want to call it, from community, so many things. That's all I got, Instagram fam. Thank you for coming and listening to my lovely craziness, my mind. It's not going to stop because I am on a roll. This is my mission. This is my impact. This is my commitment to this world to help increase and level up, raise the frequency of this planet one human at a time. One at a time becomes 2, becomes 3, becomes 4, becomes 5. And then maybe one day a child is born on this planet Earth and all they know is love. They have no generational trauma of the disease of addiction or fear and guilt and shame anywhere in their karmic cycle or in their energy of cells, that they get to be happy and they get to live a life of love. That is my commitment. That is my vision. That is what I'm here to cause and create. And I'm here to do that one-on-one, right? Stepping into the coaching world. Yeah. Selfless shout out. I am looking to work with individuals one-on-one that are ready to step into this work, that are ready to actually increase their vibrational frequency. I'm open and willing to have conversations about the work that I've been doing, about the work that we can do together, and about whatever you want to create in this world from your truest authentic self. I am not enrollable into your smallness. I am only enrollable into your greatness. That is what I'm committed to. That is my fucking stand. I am done with all of the other things I've been doing for myself. It is just me. It is just this vision. That is it. I fucking love you all so much. Have a great night.